first round pick. Hey, throw that list away. All right.
Why are we around?
Welcome to the show. It's a Chiefs Blitz night. Breaking down the plays, keeping everything tight. From Mahomes to the defense, we give you the scoop. Real talk, real stats, we the ultimate troop. This ain't no game, it's our passion on display.
The baby himself.
Chiefs Blitz podcast, real fans unite. Every touchdown scored, we ignite the night. From tailgate chatter to post-game debate, we love our Chiefs, yes, never too late.
I would even bring MVS back in the middle of the season.
Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to the Four Guys in a Bar, sponsored by ChiefsBlitz.com, presented by UnderdogFantasy.com. Here's your Chiefs Blitz host, Nick Athan, with Lou Montagna, Andre Tillman, and Hense Todd.
Welcome back to the next edition of Four Guys in a Bar, presented by ChiefsBlitz.com, your top source for Chiefs news, opinions, and of course, the place where you can find the Four Guys in a Bar podcast. I am your host, Nick Athan, alongside Mr. Hense Todd, producer extraordinaire, also the man behind his own show with Bowtie Sports. Good stuff every Saturday, 1:30, 3 o'clock?
1:30. 1:30 or 6 o'clock if it's
okay.
Like we got.
There you go. Check out his YouTube channel. They do a great job with Coach Dre. Hey, before we get started, it is Friday. We're 6 days away from the NFL draft. Let's talk about our sponsor, Underdog.
Baseball is back.
That's right. Baseball is back on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you cash in today. You can play the pick'em game. It's very similar to what you did with the NFL. We're doing the Chiefs stuff. Now it's all about baseball, and especially the Royals. You can go higher or lower. It's really simple to use. Their app is amazing. You just choose your entry fee. You decide what you want to play, and you just see the winnings coming if you know what you're doing. So take a swing today and make sure that you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, and they're going to give you a meatball right off the gamut, Bobby Wood Jr. special. So start with a W for your first entry and new customers. Make sure you use the code Chiefs Blitz. That's right. UnderdogFantasy.com. Play the game right now. Baseball, even though the Royals aren't playing very good baseball, eventually they will hit. And maybe you can make some play with the Royals and some other Major League Baseball teams. Make sure when you enter the first time, use the code Chiefs Blitz. Get $5, get 50 credits. And with that, I'm bringing in the other members of the team. Mr. Lou Montagna.
Oh, hey,
what's up, Coach?
All business today, man.
The Red Friday before the draft.
No cold open, straight to business. We are ready, man. This is it. We're into go time now. Come on, no more fooling around.
You know, it's a lot of people. You know, we can do so many mock drafts, so you fall asleep dreaming about. You know, it's the time is almost over. We don't have to go through no more mock draft boards. We just go through what we what the Chiefs actually do. So with that said, guys, we're going to be live here for round 1 Thursday, April the 24th. You don't want to miss this show. You probably will see somebody walking around in their silk pajamas. You may see somebody in their pajamas. You may see somebody not. You never know what
you might see somebody go commando.
You never know what
maybe on Saturday.
No commandos.
Go commando. Let the cameras on and let some say some shit.
Saturday, I'm not making any promises. So we'll see how that goes. But Thursday, come on, it's a nice, happy hour.
That's right.
Early evening for some of us.
Yeah, that's right. We letting everything hang out, gentlemen.
Complete decorum.
That's why we have the Four Guys in the Bar. You guys are just welcome to do as you please. There are no restrictions when it comes to the Four Guys in the Bar podcast.
Hey, you got to be comfortable when it comes to this draft, man. Hey, you got to be comfortable in who you are. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
So are you guys excited that, we're just 6 days away, or do you feeling maybe like a sense of relief? It's just, we're talking about all these players over and over again. You're looking for new angles, all this different stuff. I mean, is it more, do you feel more excitement or relief?
I feel more excitement, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of sad Chiefs fans because I think Veach is going to go Hense board. I think he's going to go a Zach from the Golden Board list and say, you know what? I
This
ran into
dude
you. I
funny.
ran into you in the lobby. You kind of slid me a little note. You slid me a little note. Say, hey, here go the picks, man. Do what you please. Do what you please with it. And hey, maybe some guys you probably see that you see on the board on the golden list. Maybe the golden jacket guys actually end up in uniforms.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm just saying. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm more excited. I'm ready.
Yeah. Bobby, the Scoop Knox he's pumped for the draft. Bobby,
let's go,
let's
Bobby.
do it. No, love it.
Yeah, man.
You know, I'm kind of like relieved it's here. I think it's been a very strange offseason.
Yeah.
You know, obviously getting pasted in the Super Bowl certainly didn't help. And I think the thing for me is like I'm obsessed with watching Chiefs film and Chiefs footage and going back and watching old games. I haven't watched a single second, not one play, not anything to kind of get into the swing or the feel of the season because it ended so disastrously. So I'm just kind of relieved it's like that's really all behind us now. Obviously, we got over the loss pretty quickly, but man, I'm telling you, I'm ready for this draft, and I'm relieved it's here. That way, I don't have to think about the past. That's
Somebody in the chat said they doing mock draft 50 times a day. They doing more than me.
Way to go, Canadian Canuck. Canadian
I'm not
Canuck.
honestly though, Nick. I'm different, man. I go back and I watch it all the time, man. I watch it all the time to let me know exactly what these boys need. Let me know, like, come on, guys, like we seen what happened. Now, Veach is on you, Veach. It's on Veach. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to keep that inside you, like, damn, okay, I know who we are. I know what we need. I know exactly what we need going to the draft. Exactly what we need.
Well, we're about to find out. So, what do you think, Lou?
So I'm about, I want to say 45, maybe 40 plus drafts, right? Since ESPN started televising 80, it.
What, 79?
79, I think it was, the first one. And getting introduced to Mel Kiper, that nobody knew who the hell he was, right? He was just some guy from Baltimore that was like year after year would churn out this blue book. And then eventually ESPN brings him on to do the show. And obviously technology has just exploded. So everybody has access to
shout out to Mel Kiper,
to
man.
like game film, you know, all these different things that you don't have to have like a satellite dish and you're watching like 12 college games but my point is this is I think I'm at the point now where it's just year after year where the prospects get so over analyzed because there's no games going on, right? Last thing we saw was like maybe to a degree the combine, but that's not real football. You see this pro day, much like the combine, it's not real football. And just people talking themselves in and out of players, and it just keeps going and going. I'm at the point now, let's just start picking players because at the end of the day, we can talk about this for like ad nauseum for months. But you know, when it starts happening and the players start coming off the board, then that's kind of when the juices start flowing. You kind of see, okay, here are the guys that might fall to us. So yeah, a little bit of relief here. So, and I did notice in Veach's press conference that he did bring up the gold jacket list, and that's their board.
Right.
They don't have 200 players. They have how many, Hense? Like 20? How many you have?
I got
so
20.
Well, actually, he's probably got about 30 gold jackets, right? So somehow the Chiefs will stumble into one or two of them. But all kidding aside, though, I can't wait for it to get going.
Hey, so King Mo said Senior Bowl should have been the last thing they look at. The Senior Bowl does tell you a lot because they're going against elite, Well, and I do agree with him. The Senior Bowl is something that's true.
Evaluators, yes, but some guys, you know, whether it's injury or whatever, aren't able to perform afterwards. You want to see how they're feeling, how the how the medicals are, all that stuff. And again, the most difficult thing to judge is the spirit and how much that person that you're sitting across from during the interview process really wants to be great and wants to be a great football player, because all these guys are tremendous athletes. All these guys have skills and so forth. And It's that simple. It's another human being, and you don't know how they're going to react after they start getting hit in the face by another guy of their ilk on the regular.
It's the heart of a champion, man. You want to be, it's a character.
That's that's
the
all
most
about
character,
part.
man.
And that's why no matter how many of these lists we go through and so forth, we don't have access to that information. So we're blind. We're even more blind than the guys making the picks.
Yeah, I've seen one big board for the Chiefs when Herm Edwards was the coach. Now that it's long gone, I can say I got to see his big board. Of course, Carl Peterson had the ultimate big board. But Herm did as well. And hey, I want to answer Big Dad's question because we're going to talk about that in one of our segments.
Big
6
Dad,
more days. Hurry up,
love
please.
the handle.
How much of you guys' mocks and draft strategy been altered post Veach press conference yesterday, if at all? Yes, it will alter mine a little bit. Definitely coming up, and that's one of the things we'll talk about in the segment here when we kind of do this.
Big Dad, I tell you what, if you've been
we'll
watching this show at all, it hasn't altered mine in the least.
It's going to alter mine.
It was pretty much, verbatim what we've been saying, or some of us have been saying since the jump. So it's just
like Lou said, whoever lands there and they the best man on the board, you take them. But it didn't alter my board because I gave them the board. It altered anything because I have gave the man the golden list.
You're such a nice guy.
Do we have that spliced together? Because it's almost like the Zapruder film. You have to slow it way down at a certain point. And I'm pretty sure it was when Brett froze for a while. During that time, I think he was talking about the gold jacket board, and then when he came back, it was like, wait, what? What was he saying? What was that? A picture of Hense in the background?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you have like an ultra, like an ultra HD, on your television, go to that exact moment, and you might see Hense on his shoulder, just kind of whispering in his ear.
There it is. Per NFL Draft Scout, the Chiefs are actively looking to trade up in round 1. The goal would be to move in front of the Texans and the Rams if a specific left tackle is still on the board. So, obviously, we all know who they're going to go after. It's been no secret in league circles. If he's there and they can make a deal, they're going to have a new left tackle.
Well, there you have it.
I feel like from my gut feeling, they using the kid as a pawn, and it could be the kid from Texas.
I don't think so.
I think it's if they move up.
I don't think the kid from Texas is going to be there.
I ain't talking about him. I'm talking about Matthew Golden. That's who it's going to be. It's going to go right up. They're going to say, what the heck?
That would be a surprise.
A little curveball, huh?
A little curveball.
Hey, this is the second year in a row the Chiefs have been very...
Stay tuned for Factor Cap.
Information is leaked out about their target. So last year was Xavier Worthy. This year it's obviously Big Josh. So we'll see what happens.
So with that said, let's go ahead and get into Factor Cap.
Okay. So it didn't take long at all.
For those of you new, we have a game called Factor Cap. So Lou, go ahead.
Every Friday at this time, folks, and this is especially for you, Big Dad. I will read some scenarios, if you would, and it should be thought provoking. It should be conversation provoking, and a lot of times it just really pisses people off that there's even a notion that something like this could happen. So my job is done. Here we go. Number 1. It's pretty well documented that the New England Patriots win in week 18 last year, and they go from having the first pick overall to the 4th. So now they're in kind of a strange position because there's 2 really, like, I don't know, I can't miss, gold jacket, whatever you want to call them, but Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are kind of like one of those 2 guys they would get if 2 or 3 of the top 3 are quarterbacks. Now it's looking more and more like there's not going to be 2 quarterbacks picking in the top 3. So now they're going to get left holding the bag, if you would, at like an elite player. Okay. So given all that, instead of taking an offensive lineman that is
Meh.
the Patriots will take Ashton Genty with the 4th pick.
God, when that pissed the Raiders
Fact
off.
or cap? Hensley.
I would say with the 4th pick, they definitely need offensive line help over there with Drake May. So I would say cap. I would say that would be a cap on my end. So no, I don't think they go running back.
Nick?
I'm going fact. I think with Vrabel's success, he had a stud running back in Derrick Henry. I think this kid is the real deal. Even though he did not perform well with the lights on in the college football playoffs, the Raiders want him really bad. But I like the question, Lou. I hadn't thought about it till just now, but I'm thinking for the Patriots, what do they need? They need a complementer. They need a home run running back to go with their young quarterback. And honestly, I like the idea. So I'm going to go fact. I'm going to say screw the Raiders. And I would love watching that because I think it's going to be absolutely great because I think they're going to take Sanders.
All right, Coach.
Same thing. I agree with Hense. I'm gonna go cap. I'm definitely gonna go cap because they need more help. That running back ain't gonna help them for real. So you get that line together. Yeah, I'm gonna go cap.
All right. So you know where I stand on this. It's basically don't pass up great for good.
Right.
So I don't care if you need an offensive lineman. They've got plenty of picks. Unless you believe that one of these guys is Joe Alt, and I don't know of anybody that does believe that,
I don't think so.
You got who's the kid from LSU? Is it Will Campbell?
Will Campbell.
You got Armand Membu, who kind of his name is, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but kind of was one of those names, wasn't regarded as like a top 10 pick
right
going into the Senior Bowl, and now all of a sudden he's up there. And I think that tells you, how kind of meh the offensive tackle market is right now because of injury, because of other things or whatever. So I'm going to say fact, just because if they're going to miss out on 2 potential, again, I'll use this word, I hate using it, but generational players, this is the next guy that has that opportunity. And I think it would just be great chaos, great theater, and we will have a lot to talk about.
If the holes can open up, yeah, but I doubt it.
All right, number 2. So yesterday, of course, shot heard around the world. Of course, Aaron Rodgers came on Pat McAfee, and you think, okay, now he's going to announce that he's going to go play with the Steelers. Of course, that doesn't happen. The Steelers, I mean, for my lifetime, I'm in proximity to them. It's 100 miles from here. I'm surrounded by Steelers fans, and they, to me, were always one of the best run organizations in football. And I think they still are for most degree.
One of the top
but
ones,
this quarterback situation that they've just completely just jerked around with since Big Ben retired, they kind of let him hang around maybe a year or two too long. Then, they bring in Kenny Pickett and some other quarterbacks that they've used, obviously Russell Wilson. They let Justin Fields go, whatever. But watching that from Rodgers, I mean, did anybody get the sense that he's ready to be like committed to football and ready to rock and roll? So here's the statement. Forget about all that. Steelers will draft Jalen Milroe at pick 21.
I would say that is a fact. I think that's the best quarterback that's coming out this draft. You don't need Mr. Go put the tennis balls on the walker. Rodgers, you go get the young guy that's just going to come out here and ball. Jalen, the best quarterback that's ever coming out this freaking draft since Patrick Mahomes. I would say, yes, get the kid for Alabama. Let him come out here and roll with DK Metcalf and George Pickens. So I would say that is a fact.
Nick?
I'm gonna agree with Hensley. I think absolutely he's the biggest wild card quarterback in a very positive way in this draft. I love his skill set. He comes from obviously a great school. Alabama quarterbacks have done pretty good lately in the NFL. So I'm gonna go fact. I think they need their long-term answer. You know, they've botched it, like you mentioned, since Roethlisberger left. Very similar to how the Chiefs lost it when I can go back to Lenny Dawson retiring. You know, they always brought in makeshift quarterbacks. They tried to draft a few guys. It didn't work. They never had the solution. They always had to make trades. You know, Joe Montana, Steve Bono, Elvis Gerbach, Dave Craig.
They loved them some 49er quarterbacks, didn't they?
Yeah. And then finally they draft Patrick Mahomes and it all changes. And I think if you look at the landscape of the NFL, what's the one constant? You've got a franchise type quarterback that can win and get you in the playoffs.
The draft is always easier when you have the quarterback in place.
Correct. And they do not have the quarterback.
No question.
Man, well, listen. I definitely think they're not going Aaron Rodgers. Like King Mo said, they might trade up and get Shador, or like Hense, he thinks that Milroe is the greatest quarterback after the draft. I disagree with that. With Hense, and he's a good quarterback, but I do believe they're going elsewhere. They're not dealing with Aaron Rodgers.
Ain't you the same person disagree
Well, the statement was
the statement wasn't Aaron Rodgers. The statement was
they will select Jalen Milroe at 21.
Oh yeah, they will. They will.
So they will.
They will select Milroe.
So we're going fact.
I mean, doing with your topic, what you just presented, yes, but they're not dealing with Aaron Rodgers.
That's what I'm presenting. Yeah, that's what
they
he's
ain't doing Aaron Rodgers. To hell with that.
That's how we're doing. Well, I think the thing to me is, even if they do take a quarterback at 21, that doesn't preclude them from just saying, all right, Aaron's ready in June. And they're good with it. Sure, bring him in. He said yesterday he played for $10 million.
Yeah, man.
Why the hell not? Do you think? And this is the craziest part. They go out and trade for DK Metcalf, extend him to $30 million a year, and Mason Rudolph is going to be the quarterback throwing him the ball. That's this whole thing about the Steelers that just has me baffled, because this is so un-Steeler like.
That's just Seattle fleecing the Steelers. That's all it is.
What got me baffled is Hense think that Milroe's buried in Shador. I'm just saying.
It's not even close.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'll say about these things. And I'm sure he's using the cube, the crystal ball, all these other things. If Jalen Milroe's ceiling is much higher than I think just about everybody's in the draft, because if he ever figures out how, decision making,
how to
throw
play
the ball and so forth, because this is like Anthony Richardson, but with a lot more experience. I don't know character-wise, whatever. I mean, I think Milroe playing in Alabama tells you a little bit about who he is, how much work he had to put in. So, especially playing for Saban for a couple of years. So, again, if they're willing to roll the dice, I'm going to go fact on this one, because he has the most upside. And the Steelers, this is bizarro world for the Steelers. So I think this would be out of character for them. So be it. That's the way they're rolling. Okay, last one. It's always a Chiefs one, and I always love to have fun with these, and I'm sure everybody loves to hear them. So here we go. Of course, again, we did see Veach yesterday and how he talked about, potentially what's happening, at the bottom of the board, where the strengths of the draft are. Running back, you can get a good one rounds 1 through 5. Who knows? Maybe he does. Somebody they like is sitting there. Offensive line, of course, O-line, D-line, explosive player. If that's a wide receiver, if that's a running back. So pretty much everything we've been thinking going into this point. Here's the statement. If the Chiefs trade up in the first round, it will not be for an offensive lineman. Hensley, we already teased this earlier.
I'll say that'll be a fact. If one of the receivers start falling, and Patrick Mahomes need more playmakers around him, and one of those explosive guys like T-Mac or Matthew Golden, if one of those two start falling and get in the range where the Chiefs can draft up and get one of those guys, I think they're going to go all in and say, heck, we don't know what we're going to get with Rashee Rice. Juju on a 1-year deal. Travis Kelce going to be gone next year. Hollywood Brown on a 1-year deal. Why not trade up and get Golden on T-Mac to get Patrick Mahomes more playmakers? Just saying. So I'll go with fact there. It would be a solid
right.
fact.
Nick?
I really like T-Mac. I can't lie.
O-line, D-line, baby.
I can't lie about that. But
Take your time, Nick.
all right. Yeah, it's just my birthday hangover. It's been a week now.
Coach is ceding his time.
I think
to you.
no. I'm not ceding my time to Coach. Trust me. All right.
No, he's giving you his.
Yes. So I will say Cap.
All right. So
I'll say,
just to make it clear, if they trade up, it's only for an O-lineman.
If they're trading up, they're going after Simmons. That's pure and simple.
Okay.
I'm going to buy the rumor mill.
So my thing is, if they do trade up, they're going defensive lineman. They're not going receiver. They're going defensive lineman. Offense line, defense.
Good choice
lineman.
too.
Yeah.
Fact. Okay, way to go. I think so as well. Now, here's the thing, and here's the reason why I think that. If, I don't know, people on the internet and everything else say, well, geez, the Chiefs were going to trade up and they're going to trade above Houston. I'll repeat myself. Nick Caserio is sitting in Houston doing, kind of scenarios as well. He's got to be thinking, of course, looking at teams behind them who might potentially jump them for an offensive lineman. So if the one that they really like starts to fall, who's to say he doesn't go up and be more aggressive because of how well they've done in the draft, the number of picks they have. Veach kind of has a limited number of picks. He's got those 4 in the top 100. So does he just want to hold on to that, make sure that we get 4 more than likely starters in those first 2 days? So for that matter, I'm going to say fact, just because it's a little bit more open in terms of a receiver, running back. Hell, if Colston Loveland starts falling and all of a sudden they say, you know what, Jared Wiley, God bless you. We thought we got value for you, but this kid, we're going to go after, something like that. I don't see I don't see that as being a bad thing. So let's go with something other.
I'm going to tell you right now who the Houston Texans are going to draft. Book it, Dano, 100%. Gray Zabel, North Dakota State guard. He's their top choice.
There, yeah. I mean, he's certainly under consideration.
He is their number one offensive line. Trust me on this one.
Okay, is this from Aaron Wilson?
It's not from Aaron Wilson.
Okay. All right. No, he's as plugged into the Texans as anyone, isn't he?
Yeah. He mentioned that as well, but I've heard very similar.
Yeah, I said that. I love that. Just watching him at the Senior Bowl,
he's just a brute.
He just looked like a guy that is just going to bring his lunch pail to work every day. Tell me where to line up, coach, and I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, if
center, guard, tackle, whatever.
Yeah, if I'm the Chiefs and he's there,
what if Marshall start falling? If Marshall start falling, you don't think the Chiefs trade up and get him?
I mean, I think at this point they could trade up and get almost anybody.
True.
That fits the 4 areas of need that they have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to move up for wide receiver. I think they're only moving up for offensive line or defensive line.
There's a good chance that some of those receivers are going to come. It would just come falling into their laps. I mean, the way. And again, this is just what you hear from some of the TV evaluators is that Ibuka, for some reason, that league maybe doesn't like him as much as everybody else seemed, because that dude, you can line him up anywhere at receiver. Luther Barrington, I think, is a great player. I don't care what you saw this past season. Yeah, all the skills. Again, if those one-on-one meetings went well with everything being equal, if any those 3 receivers came down, it would be another one of those situations. Like, how did they let the Chiefs get him? How did they the league let them get Xavier last year? You know, all that good stuff.
It's
You always
just a
hear
thing
about
with
the
need,
Eagles,
man. Like we get the receiver, it's a thing of need, man. I think that just right now, I think the Chiefs just go O line and D line. It's just a need right now. Like those are the
if
great
you
ones.
don't believe that O lineman can start immediately and make an impact, and then you pass on a guy that you know will, I hear what you're saying, but not everything is equal. I mean, yeah, if you have them rated, if you have that guy rated at that level, then maybe you go ahead and take him. But I don't think you say, well, he's the next offensive lineman, but he's like rated as a mid-second rounder. And you're going to pass.
Even if a good receiver fall, I just don't have faith. The same way with a receiver, I just don't have faith. I'm like, do you fit the system? Do you fit the scheme? I don't know. Like nigga like T-Mac, he don't film study.
I'm going to assume that they know the player and they know how they're going to use him and where he fits. So I don't think that's really an issue. It's just really how you have them rated and where you have them on your particular.
Lou, what you just said, Lou, was a good point. Like if they fit the scheme, same thing with the offensive lineman. They're gonna pick a guy they fit the scheme. Like they fit the scheme, they can immediately make an impact out there. The thing is, they're gonna have to compete, regardless of the fact get a receiver or not. You still got to compete. Right. But do they fit what you do? Do they fit the scheme? That's all it is. Do you fit the scheme immediately?
That's fact the cat.
There it is. Right. There it is.
That's right, folks. Every Friday, don't forget to tune in. As always, brought to you by our friends at Underdog Sports. Play now. Play $5.
Baseball is back.
50 bonus.
That's right. Baseball is back on Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you cash in today. You can play the Pick'em game. It's very similar to what you did with the NFL where you're doing the Chiefs stuff. Now it's all about baseball and especially the Royals. You can go higher or lower. It's really simple to use. Their app is amazing. You just choose your entry fee. You decide what you want to play, and you just see the winnings coming if you know what you're doing. So take a swing today and make sure that you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, and they're going to give you a meatball right off the gamut, Bobby Wood Jr. special. So start with a W for your first entry and new customers. Make sure you use the code Chiefs Blitz.
That's right. Underdog Fantasy right here. Play the Pick'em game, baseball, basketball, hockey. The NBA playoffs start tonight with the play-in games. Certainly a great opportunity to make a little extra cash.
Those are the finals too. I mean, you win, you're in. This is it.
Yeah, this is it. It's one and done, as they say. The best 3 words in sports history. One and done.
Oh, game 7, but okay.
Okay, well, game 7 is pretty good too.
Well, yesterday, if you watched the press conference, it kind of glitched a little bit, and maybe maybe I was there, maybe I had some to deal with it.
That's what the gold jacket stuff was. I'm telling you.
Did Veach just tipped his hand, his draft hand Thursday? On Thursday, or did he just put out more smoke? Nick, you go.
Yes,
Nick is ready.
Yes.
Nick is pumped.
Right before the glitch, Veach was talking about moving up, and he started to say to move up to draft a tackle, and he said and he corrected himself. So there clearly was a T, a ta sound or close to it. So that kind of gave me I got it right away, and I started texting people. I said,
"Yeah, here's Mr. Zapruder himself." Okay,
did he tip his hand? Does he tip his hand? Did he tip his hand? So
yes, he tipped his hand, or yes, it was just smoke.
I don't think it was smoke. I think he tipped his hand.
All right.
But again, I think.
Okay, one, I think he's smarter than that. Two,
I think he is too.
The entire league, including us knuckleheads, know that they want an offensive tackle, right? So I don't think he's tipping anything. I think everything he said was pretty much the way you see it. If you have the quarterback in place, O-line, D-line, explosive player, whether it's corner, whether it's a running back, receiver. So that's the position that they're in, and I don't think there is any tipping or anything or smoke. You really can't blow smoke from 31. I mean, where are you blowing? I mean, who are you fooling?
Man,
So,
well, I mean, shit, hell, like I said, nobody, like you said, nobody on this panel knows. But if he said tackle, man, if he slipped and said tackle, we know where is he going. We know exactly where this man is going. He's going offensive line. But the thing is, who is he going for? Who is he going to pick? So that's the real.
That's the question.
Thing.
But
yeah, who is he going to pick?
I think he slipped. I don't think he did it on purpose. I don't think it was just. It was his excitement about the possibility of moving up, and I think he just slipped. Just
okay, Mr. Conspiracy.
I'm Mr. Conspiracy Theory.
Do you also believe that the people running the Zoom shut it down at that point?
You know, I'm a big X-Files guy, so I'm gonna say I think there was a momentary collapse.
The smoking man had something to do with it.
I think the smoking man had something to do with it for sure.
Y'all funny, man. He said, "Yeah, it was conspiracy. They did it on purpose to shut it down. They shut it down."
Come on, who doesn't love that show? Seriously, who doesn't love that show?
Yeah, man.
Anyone under 50, probably.
What you had to say, Coach? Do you think he tipped his hand, or you think it just
like I stated earlier, man? Like everybody knows the Chiefs are going to O-lineman, man. So it just now if he would slip and say who he was going to get, then I'm like, yeah, but nah, we all know.
Yeah, I don't think we know they're going O-lineman. We know that that's a big need for them, right? So whether that was a slip or it's just him getting excited, it's what everybody already knows. I mean, it's not a huge secret. And if they were picking like in the top 10, that would be a huge deal, because the margin for error at that point in terms of the number of players that you're looking at is much tighter. But at 31, it's like you hope somebody kind of falls into your zone. In other words, like within the top 20, or I'm sorry, 20 down to 30. But otherwise, you're just kind of at the mercy of everything going on ahead of you. Because again, I don't know that they want to use up a bunch of the draft capital that they have, because they don't have 5th and 6th round picks.
Right. They have to be, they have to make these picks count. And
they might be having to move picks from next year, and I don't think you want to do that. I mean, unless it's a superstar.
So let's go ahead and hear what he said.
Obviously, any chance you have to draft a guy that can protect, be a starting left tackle, you do that, and they're really hard to come by. You typically don't find left tackles in free agency. Now that's slapping the free agent tackle that he signed, but again,
except for this year, you cut it off.
So I mean, I think the Chiefs have hedged their bet. They've got a guy who they believe can start left tackle or maybe play left guard
for a year.
Jawan Taylor is going to be gone after this season. I don't think there's any way he comes back next year. They'll save $22 million in cap space.
Not at that money.
No. And just like they did with Thuney, maybe they make a trade and somebody trades for him.
Yeah.
But, he's hedging his bet. I mean, let's be honest. We talked about it all off season. The Chiefs need 5 maulers on that offensive line, and they don't have 5 at the moment. They maybe have 2.5.
That's what I'm saying, gentlemen.
And if you get a chance to get a mauler, and you can fix the right tackle situation, again, Jawan Taylor's dealing with a knee issue, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I think you go for it. But to answer the question, if they believe Simmons is that guy, even though Simmons may not be able to play full time until mid-year, you take him. If you think he's Patrick Mahomes'
6th game, you're not going to say, well, no, he's going to be like a Pro Bowler, but hey, he can't play the first 6 games.
Hey, Eric Fisher started slow too. Eric Fisher didn't start right away, and then he moved him to right tackle, and then they moved him to left tackle. So, listen,
we're not privy to their board. So, again, we think that we've seen that they've made every effort to do as much due diligence as they can on the kid, which I'm sure they have on other guys as well. So he's just the one that it's been a little bit more out there and a little bit more publicized. And the fact that I think a lot of people think he's the most talented of the offensive tackles.
All right. And update number 2 is if the Chiefs are unable to get Josh Simmons or another left tackle prospect in the first round, Veach could pivot his plans towards selecting an ascending defensive lineman with plenty of pass rushing juice, according to Nate Taylor with The Athletic.
The one thing he said that I thought was interesting was that a lot of the TV evaluators, guys that have been in the league, Jeremiah, Todd McShay, guys like that, they've been touting how much the interior defensive line, how deep that is.
Oh, yeah. Very.
Not quite as deep on the edge where Brett kind of flipped that. So I think he's more impressed with the edge guys. Again, that might be more smoke than it, but again, he may just see it that way. So again, I don't know that they're not locked into anything in particular. I think the circumstances would have to be almost perfect for them to get Josh Simmons at this point, just because of the teams ahead of them that want offensive linemen. And if they really like him, they would spring. But I think, to your point, Nick, Gray Zabel could be the perfect pick because he could play left guard this year.
Exactly. Yep.
And then they could switch him over to right tackle the following year after Juwan Taylor's gone. And then, but then you have to have a lot of faith in Jalen Moore.
But everybody criticized Drea for picking Jay.
They sure did. They sure did, bro. And I told you, I told Kareem, do your due diligence, sir. The boy can play multiple positions on that line. Like that's what Andy Reid them guys love.
My thought is I don't know that he would ever. I don't think he would make it that far. I think he's that coveted a player that regardless of guard or no, that he's going in the top 20.
Right.
But again, that's just me. What do I know?
All right. And of course, he mentioned again, he's adjusted that he's open to being aggressive if the right player falls. He mentioned Trent McDuffie and Xavier Worthy as past examples. And those two examples are really interesting because Trent McDuffie, we didn't hear anything. Zero interest. There was no leaks about their love for him. But Xavier Worthy, we heard a lot. And even Worthy himself, as he posted on Wednesday night, future Kansas City Chief on his Instagram. So
that's why I'm thinking it would be more the McDuffie situation because they saw him probably going in the top 15 that year. And when he was available after that, like, let's go get him.
Right.
Now,
that's why I said Matthew.
When you look at the draft, typically your outside corners that are at the top of the top in terms of the market, how they're drafted and whatever, typically they're 6 feet or taller. They got the long arms, the whole thing. And now we're kind of seeing when he got his chance to play nickel, he's the best in the league at that season that he played, inside. How is that all going to shake out? We talked about that last time, but I just thought that was interesting that even though he didn't fit the kind of the profile of the outside corner, they thought enough of him that we're going to go up and get this guy. He's just too good to pass up.
Yep, I agree.
So we may see that again.
And Brett Veach also mentioned in his interview yesterday, the team will continue to address the offensive line during the draft. I'm on record. They're going to draft at least 2 offensive linemen. I think they're going to go after a tackle and a guard. Who knows at this point what rounds, but maybe they've got a tackle they think they can convert to guard.
Get Gray Zabel and you got both.
Yeah. Oh God, wouldn't that be incredible? Who do they trade? The other thing I thought, I don't know if Mango's got this up there or not, but I think one of the other things that was interesting about yesterday was not only did he mention, getting Trey Smith done, after the rookie camp and all that when things settled down, but they were going to move quickly on Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis.
Yeah.
And there it is. So he nudged after getting Trey Smith done that George Karlaftis and Trent McDuffie were next up. Now Trent McDuffie and Trey Smith have the same agent. So I think that helps the Chiefs. I'm not sure who George Karlaftis' agent is. Maybe somebody can look that up for us in the Blitzers. But I thought that was pretty telling. I have not heard a lot of interest or desire to extend Karlaftis, but I could see why they would do it if it's a team friendly deal. If it's kind of like a if it's a Nick Bolton type of contract, I think it makes sense. But if you're going to pay him as a premier one,
hey, Mango, looks like Bobby the Scoop Knox is producing the show here. he's asking for a clip. Let's roll.
Way to go, Bobby. Bobby, where are you from, buddy? Let us know.
Yes, where are you from? How'd you hear about us?
Yeah, there you go.
I think this is a new guy. I think he's a new guy. The Scoop. He also put his nickname
Pete
in
Sweeney. Yep. So yeah, I thought it was pretty fascinating yesterday. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Some of the things that he talked about, and how candid he was, and I think there's definitely a few nuggets there to.
Well, I like the fact that he even almost called a foul on himself. Usually I do go a little too far in these.
Yeah, he does. He did say that. Also from Pete Sweeney, the running back class is probably the deepest class in the 2025 draft, where he can find good running backs from rounds 1 to 5. Listen, we've been talking about running backs, since we started doing our mock drafts.
My bad. Bobby did. There is Bobby.
How could we forget?
How did y'all forget? We're talking about draws and
oh, that's right, Scotland. My bad. That's right. The kilt story.
We apologize if you could somehow.
My bad, Bobby.
If you could somehow post a picture of yourself in the kilt, that'll cement it in my brain.
No. Save that for draft day. Save that for draft day.
I'll never ask you again.
In your quilt for Lou, man. Lou wants to see your quilt.
Kilt.
Man. So
it's not a blanket.
He wants to see you live, man. And your your jammies. He wants to see your jammies, man.
They're not jammies. They're not jammies.
Don't be disrespectful.
Get your culture correct.
Yeah. Get my culture corrected. Hey.
No. They don't wear. They're not jammies. They are
warriors wear the kilts.
Yes. What angle would you like?
Whatever you got, Bobby.
I don't know. Coach's preference might be a little bit different than ours.
Hey, we are.
He gonna send Lou a good angle.
He said, "What angle do you like?"
Yeah, I mean, whatever you got, Bobby.
Way to go, Bobby. Love the sense of humor.
Let it fly.
I think it's all smoke, man. No, like Lou said, like I, since I've been watching football or listen to the draft on the radio on the boat with my grandpa fishing. You know what I mean? Nobody is giving up.
Very specific.
Very specific. I like that.
Nobody's giving up their plan.
That's a great memory. I like that.
Nobody's giving up their plan. No one's giving up their plan and nothing like that. I feel it's all smoke, man, because you never, like my grandpa said, you never let you know what your right hand let you know what your left hand doing. You ain't gonna know the man. Everybody put out there that
I mean, the thing is that the strategy is kind. I don't want to say it's like a cookie cutter thing, but it's pretty. I mean, vague. So I don't think it was smoke. I think he was being very truthful. Is that they're going to be open to getting the best player within those positions.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't think it was smoke. I don't think he tipped anything. So I don't think it's either. I think he kind of told us what we already knew, or that some of us will openly admit.
Well, we'll have this conversation about the Thursday night about 9:00. I'd say.
Damn right, baby.
So what they said, who's going to have the final say in the draft room? When his card is about to be turned in, who's going to have the final say?
Well, if it came down to it, I would imagine it's going to be Clark, right?
Yeah, that's
but if it's a quarterback, so I'm sure he was very involved in the trade up with Buffalo and all that with Patrick, and I'm sure he had to give his sign off to all that stuff.
Yeah.
If they just stick and pick, I think it's just going to be between Andy and Brett, and I think they're in such lockstep that I don't know that there might be some debate here and there, but I think that's probably already happened, right? So they agree. Okay, this is the board. Here's who we like. He's in range. If we think one of these teams is going to grab him, we better jump. So then I think the owner gets involved maybe a little bit.
Just a little bit.
In terms of final say, it's Brett and Coach Reed, and that's kind of the way they roll, I would think.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I think so. I think Andy ultimately is probably going to have the final say.
Correct the mind.
I think Steve Spagnuolo, if they decide to go defense, I think he's not going to have the final say, but he's going to be intertwined in that, that pick for sure. It's going to be fascinating, but I think Clark ultimately will be the deciding factor if there's a tie between Andy and Brett. You got to remember, Brett's right-hand man is now the GM at Tennessee. So he doesn't have that sounding board. So it's going to have to be done a little bit differently.
You got a guy in Tennessee. You got a guy in Chicago. You got a guy in Carolina. So
three top guys are gone.
A lot of Chiefs influence around the league.
That's right.
I say it's going to be Clark, man. He gets the final say. What's going to go down in what player is going to come be in a locker room. Somebody have locker room concerns, or or they probably go get another Texas guy.
Well, if it's a first round trade, Clark ultimately usually has to sign off on it.
Right. But so who now? What's going to be the biggest surprise on Thursday night, draft night? What's going to be the big surprise?
I'm going to give Lou props because I think it's going to be Genty going to the New England Patriots, and I think that will shake the shit out of the rest of that early part of that first round. That changes the narrative.
I can see that. I can see that happening.
You're talking. What are they pick third or fourth?
Fourth. Yeah.
Okay, so you already know who's going number one. Tennessee's already made their pick. The top two defenders are going to go 2 and 3, and the next best offensive player at 4.
Just the player on the board. I think a lot of teams.
Screw the offensive line if you're the Patriots at this point.
I think it's just, star power. You don't get to pick fourth very often. And I get it. Offensive line is important. If one of these guys, like I said earlier, was like in the Joe Alt, hey, this guy is going to be like a multi-time Pro Bowler, probably going to be a Hall of Famer, just because of the pedigree, everything, the skills, the physicality, all that stuff. I don't know that you can say that about Will Campbell or Armand Membu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Genty, I think, he's just everything about him screams that now again, it's a running back.
Right.
And it hasn't had, I think Bijan Robinson, I think, was a top 10 pick. He was, I think, the last one. Saquon was a number 2 pick overall. So regardless of the style of play or whatever, this is a guy that can break it at any time. That's, I don't know how you pass it up, actually, now that I think of it.
I think that'd be a good pick. Jenny going to the New England, that'd be a
I don't know,
pick,
man. About half an hour ago, you were like poo-pooing the pick.
Nah, I'm definitely for the Patriots, yeah. For the Raiders, no.
Coach Waffle House.
But I'll
put it like this. My biggest surprise on Thursday night is going to be, I've been saying it, since draft time. The Cardinals sitting there. Seduro drops there. I feel like it's going to be. I'm just saying, I got this feeling.
The agent of chaos. I
just feel like that will be a surprise. Because nobody's seen the Falcons taking a quarterback. Nobody's everybody's like, what? Why they taking it? But again, so that will be a surprise there. Also, it'll be a surprise that the Simmons slipped all the way into the second. A lot of people are like, oh, we thought he would go in the first. He's in the green room and he slips all the way into the second round. So that'll be my biggest surprise of the night.
My biggest surprise is seeing just Shador, one of the top quarterbacks, go to the second round. That would be a shocker. Like, wow, I guess they don't have faith, because we seen it in the draft before. Like the quarterbacks, a certain position we think will go number 1, they end up falling to the second round, and they like, wow, like what happened, So I think for me, just seeing one of those them young studs go into the second round, man, and you start to wonder, like, wow, they falling so far down. So that would be a shocker for me.
I don't know how much of a surprise it is, but maybe one of the two teams, meaning Cleveland and New York, if they go Hunter Carter, trade back in, maybe up above the Steelers, and especially like if you don't see a quarterback going, I guess the next spot might be 9 to the Saints.
Yeah.
So let's say they're like, well, no, we're going to take a rookie quarterback. We're nowhere near winning. It just wouldn't make any sense. Okay, so they take whoever, edge rusher, defensive tackle, whatever. Okay. So now where does he fit? Because there really aren't any spots for a quarterback going down each of those picks all the way down to 21.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Now to the Giants.
Colts, maybe.
the Giants or the Browns, do they come flying back up? Maybe they give up next year's first, that either 33 or 34, whatever they have to give up to get up to, say, like Minnesota, who only had, well, I think, no, they pick after Pittsburgh. So they got to get ahead of the Steelers. Whoever is up there that doesn't have many picks. I don't think the Falcons don't have many picks. I think they only have like 4 or 5. And presumably they have their quarterback, right?
Minnesota don't have that many picks as well.
They only have 4 picks in the draft.
But they pick after Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh would have to be. So maybe if Pittsburgh does take Milroe, then one of those teams like comes screaming up to get Shador or Jackson Dart or whoever they happen to like. But in terms of surprises, I think maybe the Genty thing, I would say. But maybe just the fact that Shador does slip all the way.
Let's hope both quarterbacks are available when the Chiefs are picking at 31. That'd be a huge advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, speaking of the Chiefs picking, will the Chiefs release the Bills once again?
Hell yeah, they will. You know it's coming.
Well, they're a little closer this year, aren't they? Like back to back this year.
They're back to back.
So the opportunity, unless of course somehow like later on, I think the Bills have a bunch of picks.
The third round, the Bills don't have a late. I don't think the Bills have a third rounder this year. I'm looking.
Yeah, it's going to be tough this year just because.
The Bills don't pick in the third round at all.
They pick in such proximity.
Yeah,
you know, it would be hard, but.
Yeah, the Bills don't have a lot of picks in the first 4 rounds. Interesting.
Maybe late they did. Seem like maybe like 5th, 6th round they have a bunch.
Yeah. Well, they got some compensatory picks too.
Yeah.
That kind of helped them. Yeah, they go back to back in the 4th. The Chiefs, they got 2. Let's see, they got 2 compensatory picks, I think, in the back end. So they got 3. They got 3 picks. Yeah, they're in pretty good shape in the later rounds.
So that'd be a no for me. You know, that'd
be a tough one.
Should Mahomes be more involved in the Chiefs roster this year?
Hell yeah, he should.
I say no.
Why not?
Really?
I say no because Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Ever since Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I would say no. You never get.
We don't really know how involved he is. I'm sure, like
I do know the story about Clyde Edwards.
He is kind of a sports nerd. So I mean, I could see him like really being into it and watching some college players and working out down in Texas. I mean, he probably bumps into a lot of those guys, right?
Of course he does.
And I think that was probably the thing. And that's what sticks out is like all of a sudden he was responsible for Clyde. I don't think they said, well,
no,
Patrick,
that's not what you want.
We're going to pick whoever you want.
No,
but I hear what you're saying, Hensley. Yeah, I think, you're at his level. They have to take his opinion into consideration. Just to have just a very open, dialogue, be able to give his input, and then, ultimately somebody else makes the decision. He doesn't get paid to do that. So,
yeah,
I think he should be involved. I mean, the way he getting his butt kicked all goddamn year, man. He should. I mean, he knows exactly what they need. I mean, why not? He's a star. He's a star of the team. He should have had some insight on what the Chiefs should go get. So he should. I don't see why not.
Yeah, Chiefs for life. You guys think Chris Jones has any involvement with the draft choices, being that it's so critical? We get someone to compliment him both at D tackle and edge. I don't think so, because that would require Chris Jones to get out of the swimming pool in the offseason. So, and I mean, no disrespect to the man.
He's got a phone. He's probably texting Spags or Joe Cullen.
You said get him because I'm about to get him.
He's in constant. I guarantee he's in constant communication with both those coaches, and obviously with Andy and Brett. So and Chris is 30 years old this year, right?
So that's probably the extent of the involvement, right?
Yeah. Patrick, I think Patrick's a little bit more involved. In the conversations. I don't think he's going to be in a position to make the decision. And the only reason I posted the question is, Tom Brady, when he went to that kind of second tier after he won those first 3 Super Bowls. And I think we're at that point with Patrick. Obviously he's won 3, he's lost 2. We're kind of at that point where the team is changing. He's got a lot more experience. He's got a lot more understanding of how things work. He clearly has an eye for talent. And I think that that's something that he probably will start integrating his personality, his words, his wishes, desires. It kind of goes to the whole Simmons thing. If Patrick Mahomes says to Brett Veach and Andy Reid, this guy can protect me for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 6 years, or for however long I play, go get him. Doesn't mean they're going to go get him, but he certainly has earned the right to say what he thinks. And I think that's what's going on. But with Brady was integral. He was recruiting guys. He was getting involved with the front office. He was trying to convince Belichick and the GMs that they had and ownership, and he would take less money to allow that to happen. And, ultimately.
Well, that was the thing, is that to me, on the outside, it just seemed like he always took less money, but then it was like, okay, what are we doing with this money? It wasn't like they were going out and like spending tons of cash on.
No, but they did. They brought in some key players.
But I understand. You get to that point, you want to you want to be heard. Now, do you actually make a decision? Absolutely not.
No, I'm not saying that, but
I know you're not, but I'm just from my perspective, you take the input because he's kind of not quite the CEO, maybe he's the CFO or so some other C-level position within an organization. So you want to hear from him, but ultimately, Brett is going to make that call, and Andy. So and Clark will pretty much rubber stamp. And they've won 3 Super Bowls, been to 5 with them. I can't see him just say, blocking some decision that they've made.
I don't see that either.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's that.
I think he has input, and I think he should have input. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
But I think he should have input, but, not on the draft, though. At the Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I would say no.
Those pictures,
you're holding one player against him, and I don't think that's fair,
man. Clyde was pretty good. Clyde was pretty good. Just got hurt.
He recruited Hollywood Brown. I think he recruited Juju.
So it was interesting.
He recruited my boy MVS.
And they showed. Oh my god! So they showed the IG post, right? And who was there? The enigmas. Sky Moore.
Yeah.
Justin Ross.
Yeah.
Nico.
Yeah.
And I think it was Pops in one of those pictures.
I'm not sure, but I know Xavier Worthy joined him today, I think.
Did he? Okay. But in past, you saw some of the prospects.
Well, we may not have been privy to that.
Some of the guys from Texas. So I don't know that they're posting those. That might rankle the league a little bit if Patrick's throwing to would be first.
Yeah, he threw to Rice 2 years ago. Yeah. And he threw to Worthy last year too. So
that's it.
What they said, guys.
So he doesn't have to say anything. Just the guys that he's throwing to. I think that sends a strong signal.
That's tipping your cat. That's tipping it.
All right, let's talk about next week. We'll have our regular show on Monday. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, we're kind of going to do kind of what happens, breaking news kind of stuff. And then Thursday, we'll go live at 5:45. Is that right? Central time? Yeah, I have no memory. I'm sorry. 6:45 Central Time. Yeah. 7:45 Eastern, 4:45 Pacific. And then, I think 1:45 a.m. for Mango. That is day 1. And we'll be back on Friday as well, and we will go bell to bell for rounds 2 and rounds 3, which
and 7. I don't know. Is it just me, or does it just seems like there's so many other outlets live streaming the draft?
They stole what we did last year. It's a copycat Twitter space or X space.
Damn.
Right.
So here's the players at the
room for
at the camp.
Guy.
Worthy, Brown, Remigio, Noah Gray, Robert Tanya, and Sky Moore, and Justin Ross. Thank you, Mango.
There you go.
Justin Ross still plays for the Chiefs.
Yeah, he spurred an offer from the Jacksonville Jaguars to stay in Kansas.
Excuse me. It's gonna.
I may never gonna see no PT.
One of these seasons, he's just gonna explode, man.
He just kicks ass in summer games and shit, and that's it, man. That man would never.
Not so much then either, but
only PT he gonna see is in the bathroom, toilet paper. So
Oh,
with
come
that
on.
said,
Right.
so
Hey,
with
we
that-
didn't even mention Kadarius Toney. He retired from football yesterday.
Did you see that? Yeah.
Young Joker,
Yeah.
and I
Young
must
Joker's
say,
going to be a rapper now.
yeah,
He's
it is
quitting
bad.
now.
It sounds horrible.
He's focused completely on the rap game now.
It sounds
Hey, he's
bad.
got two
That car-
Super Bowl
Did you
rings.
see
He's
that
good.
car he was driving?
Yeah, you see his lyrics? Did you hear his lyrics? Whack.
Joker. Come on,
He's like,
man.
It look whack. I'm glad. Stay over there, man, because he's bad. It was horrible. It was horrible.
So with that,
There's our movie review. All right, Hense, take us out.
YJ.
So with that said, me and Coach will see you guys Saturday, and hey, Monday will be the final
mock draft.
Our final mock draft
With trades.
With trades. So with that said, guys, we'll see you guys. Me and Dre see you guys tomorrow, and we'll the rest of the reporter guys. We'll see you guys.
All right, happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter.